Hello, today I welcome you to Marvel the Watches, and in this video I'm going to show you pretty much everything about this MWC Pilots Chronograph. Let's see what it's all about. So if you're into watches for a longer time, you've probably heard about the CWC, the Cabot Watch Company watches, or at least you've seen one online. If you did, most likely you saw the G10 or the W10 model. In this video, we are taking a look at the MWC, the Military Watch Company chronograph, which is also very similar to the CWC chronograph. I'll talk about the history of both when we switch the perspectives, but again, it was very interesting to learn about them. I even had to get some information from the Watch You Seek forum. This watch was lent to me by a buddy of mine. He lent me the Orient Cano and the Seiko Kinetic. If you haven't seen those videos, make sure to watch them. So again, big thanks to him. And by the way, from now on, I'm going to do a little teaser of the next watch that I'm going to review at the end of these introductions. So in the next video, we are going to take a look at this 42mm Cadison C8180. If you're interested in seeing the review of this watch, make sure to subscribe. Thank you. Okay, let's see the watch. This time we will start not from the measurements, but from the history of these two companies. In 1972, the Cabot Watch Company was founded specifically to make watches for the military, and in 1980 they issued the first military watch to the HM forces, the G10, which by the way is still the most popular watch model in the CWC watch range. Then in 1982 and 83, the CWC started issuing Royal Navy quartz divers, which remained the watch of choice to the Royal Navy for a very long time. And they supply various watches, but mainly the G10 model for the British Army and Royal Navy to this day. The MWC, on the other hand, had a slightly different history. The company was established in 1974, so not long after CWC, and in 1978 they started producing quartz watches also for the military, although I couldn't really find any information that they supplied any of them to the actual army like the CWC did. Speaking about the designs of some of their watches, as I've said, they have a lot of similarities to the CWC models, but both of the companies are totally okay with that from what I've read. Both of the companies still make new watch models to this day, and from what I see, they're doing quite well. On the MWC website, they basically say that they left the original design and made some really useful improvements, and they sell them at a more affordable price. For example, for the original CWC G10, which is 36.5mm in diameter, not including the crown, has 50 meters of water resistance, an acrylic crystal, superluminova, and an ETA quartz movement inside, you will be paying almost $300 on their website. For this very similar MWC G10, which is 35mm in diameter, not including the crown, has 50 meters of water resistance, superluminova, an acrylic crystal, and a quartz movement, you will be paying around $100. Then there's the CWC G10 GS model, which is basically the updated version of the G10. It is 36.5mm in diameter, not including the crown, has a sapphire crystal, 200 meters of water resistance, superluminova, and is powered by a Ronda 715 quartz movement. For this one, you will be paying around $400 on their website. On the MWC website, you can get a watch that has the exact same look but is 40mm in diameter, has a sapphire crystal, a screw-down crown giving 300 meters of water resistance, superluminova, and also has Ronda quartz movement for $270. So there is quite a difference in prices and specs, as you can see. Of course, CWC watches are becoming collectible. They have a more interesting history and they have more significance in the watch world, but I think MWC is a bit underrated, especially when they make such great pieces for the money, in my opinion, if you're looking for this type of watch. Okay, now let's see the MWC chronograph. It's a bit on the bigger side, comes in at 42.5mm in diameter, not including the crown, around 45.5 if included, 49mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick, has a 22mm lug width, and weighs 66 grams without the band. On hand, it does look a bit chunky, but the NATO adds to the bulk of the watch. In general, it's quite comfortable and it didn't get in the way of my daily activities. The original band is also a NATO, but I don't have it, so we are not going to talk about the band in this video. I just thought this red one with bead blasted keepers looked quite nice. The case back is pretty simple, everything is written in German. The top writing, I believe, translates to Military Watch Company, then Curious, which is the biggest town in Switzerland, then the model number, serial number, and 50 meters water resistance. As you can see, it's a screw-in case back, so you might be able to even do some light swimming with that 5-bar water resistance, although I wouldn't recommend it. And as you can see, it doesn't have spring bars, but rather fixed strap bars, so the strap options are going to be limited. You will be pretty much limited to only NATOs and Purlons. There are screws on both ends of the bars, so maybe you can change to, let's say, a 2-piece strap, but you wouldn't be able to change it that often. And I do like how this watch looks with a NATO on. I think it suits this watch very well, so the fixed bars is not a problem for me at least. The bead blasted finish is consistent all throughout the case. There are no polished surfaces, even the pushers and the crown are brushed, and the crown is not signed, as you can see. I really like this finish, looks more stealthy, and again you can see the biggest advantage the bead blasted finish has over polished surfaces. There are pretty much no scratches, and the very small ones blend in with that finish and are very hardly visible, which I really like. And also what really attracts me on this watch is the shape of it. I guess you can call it a turtle case, I might be wrong, but it does remind me of one, and in my opinion it even has some similarities to the bull of a moon watch. The whole presence of this watch is really aesthetically pleasing. The dial of this watch is covered by a domed mineral crystal. As you can see, there is quite a distortion from the side. I even tested it with my diamond selector tool because I've seen one website claiming that it has a sapphire crystal, but that's not true. And now we come to the dial, which is very simple yet very elegant in my eyes. The dial color changes in a different lighting. It's matte black, although when there is more light it appears grayish, which is always a nice effect. The second mark ring around the dial is executed nicely. Printing is very good. I have some close-ups, and even up close I couldn't really see any imperfections. The numerals are printed well too. The numerals at 6 and 12 are slightly bigger than the rest, giving a more symmetrical look. Also, what's often hard to do is the printing of the subdials, but in this case everything is near perfect. As you can see, the left subdial has a lot more marks than the right one. That is because it's a minute indicator for the chronograph, and the left one is a 24-hour indicator. I'll show you how it works a bit later. And then there's MWC at 12, then a letter L in the circle, which basically means that it has a superluminova lume. The hand choice is also great for this style of watch. They went with tapered hands and it suits this watch very well. The lume inside them, which is a little darker white, gives the hands a little bit more depth. Then there is the date window between 4 and 5, which is really out of place. It's kind of shoved in there. It's not perfectly centered, goes more towards 4 o'clock, and I don't really like it. It makes the dial less clean. Now let's see the lume. As I've said, it uses superluminova, so the dial is perfectly visible in the dark. The lume is strong and stays for quite some time. Even in a slightly darker room, you can see the luminescence. The operation of this watch is really simple. It uses a Seiko VK64 mecha quartz movement inside. Mecha quartz basically means that you get the accuracy of the quartz, but you can also enjoy the sweeping chronograph hand just like on the mechanical watch. So if you press the top right button, the chronograph starts. As I've said, the subdial at 9 is the minute indicator, so you can see how much time has passed. Then if you press the top right button again, you can stop the chrono. Press that again and it continues counting, or when it's stopped, press the bottom right button and you can reset the chrono. And the time setting is as simple as it gets. If you pull the crown to the first position, you can set the day. And if you pull to the second position, you can set the time. No screw down crown, so when you're done, just push the crown back in, and that is pretty much it about the watch. So there you go, here's my review of this MWC chronograph. I hope that I've explained everything correctly about the history of the two brands. If I didn't, please correct me in the comments down below. Would I recommend this watch? I'm not sure, because on some websites I saw them going for around $200 to $300. In that case, no, I wouldn't. The build quality is great, but for $300 I wouldn't be able to get over the fact that it only has a mineral crystal. But on some websites I saw them going for around $120, $150. They're usually sold out, but for that price I would recommend it. Overall, I really like this watch and it's been nice to wear it for a bit. And as always, if you have any sort of questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. And if you like my video, please leave a like and also consider subscribing and hitting that little bell so you'll get notified when I upload a new video. And now thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.